Welcome everyone, Jason Hoppy here to walk you through the really cool paper folding effect or stair step effect that you can create with an object in Illustrator. I'm going to start off with a very simple circle, and I'd like to take this circle and divide this into sections. So fill the circle with any color that you'd like, and I'm going to take my line tool and I'm going to start with a line going across the top, holding the Shift key down to draw a straight line. You can add a stroke to this line if you'd like. It's not necessary, just so you can see the line. So I'm applying a line to the top here, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to chop this circle up into multiple equal strips. So I'm going to take this line and I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt key, and Option or Alt click and drag down. And that's going to duplicate my line. Then I'm going to use Command or Control D to repeat that duplication numerous times until I get the number of divisions that I want on my circle. I'm going to take my selection tool, select all of those lines, and then simply snap the bottom and the top line to the top of my object. With those lines there, those are going to be my division, and I'm going to select all the lines and the shape. And into the Pathfinder panel, I'm going to choose the Pathfinder function called Divide. And that's going to divide this up into multiple sections. Now I'd like to go and ungroup this, because whenever you run a Pathfinder mode, it always groups your resulting shapes. So what I'd like to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to select every other section that I just created here by just hovering over and then clicking the Shift key to go ahead and select those shapes. I'm going to change the color of this by going to my color picker, and I'm just going to darken those ever so slightly so I get a little bit different shade to that. Now what I'm going to do is go to my Appearance panel, and I have every other line or every other section selected. In the Appearance panel, I'm going to click on my Effects drop-down menu, choose 3D, and I'm going to choose Rotate. And then under the 3D Rotate window, I'm going to choose the position, and I'm going to choose Isometric Top. And what that's going to do is that's going to rotate these, and if you're looking at the cube here, it's going to take this and put it into a 3D look. And the Isometric Top is basically saying take those sections that you've created and match to the surface of the top of this cube. And I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to select the other sections by holding down my Shift key and shift clicking on all the other sections. Go back to the Appearance menu, click on the Effects drop-down panel, 3D, Rotate. Here in the position, I'm going to do Isometric Left, which is going to take this and put this on the left-hand side of the cube. And you'll notice that it then takes these and kind of flips those shapes to the left. I'm going to click OK. Now, what we have here is we kind of have what looks like a funny shape here, but we have to go in and we have to line them up. Now, one interesting thing that happens is because this is an effect, you'll notice when I move my cursor over here, we can still see the original shapes. I'm going to go into the View menu, and I'm going to choose Outline, which is Command or Control Y. It still gives me my original shape because what we've applied here is an effect, which means it's just looking like these things have been put into perspective, but the original artwork is actually still how we created it. So I'm going to select all those shapes. I'm going to go into the Object menu. I'm going to expand the appearance. And what the Expand Appearance is going to do is it's going to actually make the shapes the way they appear. Go back into the View menu, and I'm going to use my Preview, which is Command or Control Y. Now you can see that we have our shapes that have been put into those 3D Rotate and the Isometric Top and the Isometric Left positions. Now all we have to do is zoom in here and then simply take those sections and line them up with each other where they're going to line up here. It takes a few seconds to get this as well because with the smart guides on, it wants to snap to every location where your shapes would reference the top, bottom, left, or right. And you can see once I begin to put this together, I get a really cool stair-stepped or folded paper kind of thing. If you've ever taken a piece of paper and folded it back and forth on itself right here, this is the effect that you get. So quite interesting. You do have to line these up and make sure they all line up so you have no little space in between there. And you get a really interesting folded paper effect, kind of that cool stair step. And this can be made a little bit more dramatic if you want to select the colors and create different colors here. I just wanted to go ahead and darken that original orange to give kind of that shadow look to it. And there you have it, kind of a cool little crinkle or waffle kind of thing. But that's how you create some folded paper look in Illustrator. Now, if I were to do the same thing with type is a lot of fun to do this with. So I'm going to grab my type tool and click. And I'm going to type in a word here, and I'm going to choose a very bold font so that we get a lot of mass with the font. I do need to turn this into outline, so I'm going to go into the type menu, and I'm going to choose Create Outlines, which is Shift-Command or Shift-Control-O. Once I convert this into outlines, I'm going to repeat the process that I did with my original circle. I'm going to take my line tool, and I'm going to draw a line across the top of my type. I'm just going to add a little bit of a stroke to this so you can see this right here. It doesn't matter what color or what size stroke. We just want to be able to see these lines. And you'll notice that when I put the line at the very top of the letters, not at the top of like the F, but at the top of the O, because I don't want this little section cut off. I'm going to select the line, and I'm going to use my Option or Alt, click and drag. And I'm going to position that down, and then I'm going to use my Command or Control D to duplicate those lines. Then I'm going to select all the lines, and I'm going to pull on the bottom pull handle and the top pull handle to snap those to the topmost portions of the lines. Okay. Now you'll notice that the O's and the S's and the Q's will always stick slightly above and below the line. So I do want to get my lines all the way to that because I don't want to chop those sections off, those little slivers. I'm going to take my selection tool, select everything that I've just created, including the type, go to my Pathfinder and choose Divide. Again, I have to go under the Object menu and ungroup this so each and every one of these sections is ungrouped. Now, I'm going to go into the View menu and go back under the Outline again. And you'll notice we still have our lines in between here, which we don't see. I do want to get rid of those because those can kind of trip us up. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to use my Direct Selection tool, which is the letter A. And I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to select, and I'm going to delete those areas. Same with anything that I have on the negative space inside my shapes. So when I drag over with my Direct Selection tool, I actually hit the Delete key twice. Why twice? Because if I only delete it once, it deletes the line segments, but not the points that create the line segments. So I always hit the Delete key twice, so I'm not being left with those little points at the ends. And I just want to go in here, and I want to get rid of all of those sections so that they do not cause any issue when I'm working with my letters. So there we go. There's my entire shape as it goes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the top set of sections right here, and I'm going to do a group. So I'll go into the Object menu and choose Group, which is Command or Control G. And I'm going to repeat this process by taking my selection tool and just running across each and every section right here, all the way through. And here, I want to make sure I get the little caps of the L and the G going in right there as well. And I kind of come through and group each one of these horizontal sections together, like so that each one is its own separate group. I'm going to go back into the View menu and go back to Preview. And I'm going to select the first, the third, and the fifth sections. And you see as I go through here, I want to make sure that I select all of these so that everything gets selected here. And you can see that, okay, there's the sections. So I'm going to select those sections, and I'm going to create a color here, like so. And then I'm going to select the other sections as I go through. You see I've got those sections right there. And I'm going to add a slightly different color to these so that we can create some type of interesting look. And for some reason, I want to group those all together, make sure those are grouped. There we go. And then make sure that I get that set together. Great. So I'm going to repeat this process here. I'm going to select the first the third and the fifth sections here. They're all grouped together, and you can see they move together, which is good. Appearance panel, effects menu, 3D, rotate. Position is going to be either top or left. And choose top, so that's going to be the tops of all my letters. And click OK. Now I'm going to come back, click off that, and then I'm going to click back on my orange and shift-click on those three sets of groups. Again, back to the appearance panel, click on the effect, 3D, rotate, and I'm going to choose the position as isometric left, and click OK. Now again, this is an effect, so you see if I do my Command or Control Y, the word looks normal, but then we see this all in the funky position here. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select all that I've done, go under Object and Expand Appearance, so that it's going to expand this into these sections so I can move these around much better. Now moving these around, I'm just going to put these into position, and these seem to work a little bit better snapping them into position here. And there I get my really cool kind of stair-stepped or folded look of my object right there, and there it is. So pretty cool. Now if you'd like to now put this whole thing into perspective, make it so it's coming at you, or you'd like to do something where you've got the content where it's going to be wider at one end and narrow at the other, I'm going to select all of my folded letters, choose the letter E, which is going to be my free transform tool, and I'm going to click on my free distort section here, and I'm going to pull this so I can distort this any direction that I want to. So I can pull this, I can push this, and you can see how you can take this now and put this into perspective so it's larger or smaller, or tweak it however you want. So it's a really cool looking effect if you like that kind of waffle look, that folded paper, or that stair step effect. You can go ahead and create it just by going in here, chopping into sections, and then using the 3D rotate and use the isometric faces. There you have it, folks. Another cool tutorial.